go over what I've watched, but I can say I have not convinced my fiance to let me get her into the nerd market yet. I said we're going to slowly ease you into that so you can see some of those movies. That's usually something, either a comedy or a girly movie. This time it was
Howard the Duck. Howard the Duck.
He wants to get her into it, not scare her off.
It has a primary female protagonist in it. She's a rock star. Leah Thompson. There she is. And, Howard the Duck.
Well, she's really big into all the Medea movies. And actually, we didn't even know this one was a Medea movie until we scrolled over it and I guess it has Medea in it. So Medea is a character created by Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry has his own studio, and I guess he's like his studio is highly rated, except for his last movie he rolled out had one of the worst Rotten Tomato scores. I think it had a sitting 0. This was not that movie. But, so normally it's Medea does this, Medea does that. That's how all of his movies are. But this one was called I Can Do Bad All By Myself. And I didn't even know it had her in it until we were watching the trailer because we were trying to see if, we wanted to watch it. I'm like, what the hell is Medea in this? And she's only shoehorned into it for a, one plot thing.
Yeah.
And she's in it for the beginning and then one scene in the whatever, then it's nowhere to be seen after that. And we've noticed that with a lot of these, a lot of the movies that have, even the ones that are supposedly Medea movies, she's just a side character in it. And she's just there to make people laugh and say funny things. And then, and sometimes in the most inappropriate times, there's one where it's supposed to be some sort of funeral going on, but then you find out there's all of this spousal abuse. And then Medea comes in, trying to be all funny. And it's this is a terrible time to have her come in and say something. Because it's you just have some guy beating his wife, and then it's oh, she got Medea, Medea impression. But when I say it's a good movie, no, it's it reminds me of a Lifetime. It had that kind of quality to it. I mean, they're fine, but
they're popular.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's another one I watched. I watched Old School. With Will Ferrell,
yeah.
The other,
Owen, Luke Wilson.
Luke Wilson, not Owen Wilson, Luke Wilson, and Vince Vaughn.
Yeah.
And again, it's a movie I never watched. When it came out, it was just not one that I really thought about. And it's just again, it's I watch it now. It's none of the things that happen in these movies would ever happen. The whole plot, the whole anything, just none of it makes any sense. Where, it starts with the guy buying a house. Turns out it was on an area where they wanted to redesignate it for college, whatever. So they turn it into a fraternity. Yeah. That's not associated with the school at all in any way. None of the people there go to school.
Well, until they get the younger guys in there, right?
Yeah.
And then they're kind of there, and they're like, well, what are you guys here for?
Well, there's one guy that's 80.
It's just, Old Blue?
Yeah.
Old Blue.
Then dies while K. White Jelly wrestling 2 topless women.
Yeah, he sure did.
My God. This movie sounds horrible.
Well,
it's funny.
And so they had to take some test to remain as part of the, or to be part of the, to actually be a fraternity. They take some, they all had to take a test, and they're well, you all passed, but because of Old Blue, he didn't pass, and well, he passed away.
You like the debate. The college guy brings in James Carville, and he gives, then Will Ferrell's like, I've got this. It goes up, and Carville's like, damn, he's right.
Yeah, because he goes into some sort of trance as he's going and doing his debate. Again, I mean, it's a funny movie, but I mean, I'm here looking at this going, there's no way none of this would ever happen.
Well,
back in the day when it came out, nobody would have thought that. They would have just been oh, it's funny, funny stuff, haha.
Well, that's like Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield. They're not just going to not notice that they knocked down the support walls in 3 different dorm rooms to just make one giant room and put in a hot, someone's going to see all that happening. And be what's going on here? And the college, I hate to say this, but I think the college would have definitely just been thank you for the money, here's your degree. Because this was This is back in the 80s. Like, the other professors, they would have never convinced old Dean Martin. And yes, he was the dean. His last name was Martin, so it's Dean Martin, which Rodney Dangerfield laughs at every time he says his name. And for those of you too young, he was a singer. And yeah, like, he would have just been like, yeah, the Thornton School of Business over here, and we're gonna give you what's the word I'm looking for here?
Honorary degree.
An honorary degree. Yeah. Because he had no reason to get a degree. He was just there to try to interact with his son, which he doesn't do a whole lot of. Although the best part of that one is definitely when the English professor gives him his paper back, like, whoever wrote this, because I know you didn't, doesn't know the first thing about Kurt Vonnegut. And he calls up Kurt Vonnegut. Vonnegut, you're fired. The paper sucked. Vonnegut's like, well, screw you too. Yeah, the woman who is the English professor, you've seen the movie, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the woman who's the English professor, she's in like the first season of Star Trek, the original series. In that episode where one of the officers gains like godlike powers, and Kirk's like, well, we've got to stop him because he's become a madman. And like, she gains powers too, and like, she's able to like make him weak so Kirk can blast him with a phaser rifle. So yeah.
Now the only thing
There's a book that's a sequel to that episode.
Yeah.
With the Next Generation.
Huh. The only thing I think I really remember about Back to School was wasn't there a scene where he's doing the diving?
The Triple Lindy. Yeah, because his son's on the swim team, and the captain of the swim team gets like a cramp. And by the way, he's the guy that's the bad guy from the Karate Kid. And his girlfriend in the movie is Dax from Deep Space Nine. And yeah, so he's like going up, and he like gets a cramp, so he can't do it. They're like, well, we need someone else. And earlier in the movie, he'd been talking to the coach, and the coach is like, hey, because he told him where he's from, he's like, hey, you wouldn't happen to have ever gone and seen this show. This guy did this amazing dive. And he's like, the Triple N. He goes, yeah, you're talking to him. He's like, what? He goes, yeah, that was me. He's like, oh, that'd be amazing to see it again. Well, it was years ago. And so at the end of the movie, he's like, all right, like they had no choice. Like, I got to do it. Yeah, that's one of Robert Downey Jr.'s earliest movies, too. He's the roommate. And then the main kid is the guy from Christine. That's the only thing I've ever seen him in. So, yeah.
Sounds like I need to watch this movie.
Oh, you do. It's very funny. And, yeah, Dean Martin, that's, I think his name here in a minute, played Otis in Superman. Lex Luthor's incompetent guy that's with him for God only knows what reason.
Probably makes one really good cup of coffee.
I don't know. Lex wouldn't even give him Otisville. They had the redrawn map of what was going to be left once the new kicked California, and he had all the cities planned out for like all the new area that he owned. Otis had written in Otisville in somewhere. Lex is like, Otisville. It's like, what? It's a small place, like Otisville. And then finally he's yelling at him, and he's like, all right, I'll get rid of it. And like, Superman's standing there the whole time, and Lex just like, yeah. Thank you for watching. This has been a Geek Cabal video, Echoes of a Whisper. This has been a clip from one of our podcasts. The link to the actual podcast this is from is in the description of the video if you want to see the entire thing, which we obviously encourage you to do. But otherwise, if you enjoyed what you saw, a thumbs up is always appreciated. Subscriptions and all the rest is definitely appreciated. Comments, as always. But just in general, thank you for watching. Hope you liked it. And check out the other videos we have here on the channel. See you later.